Hello everyone, this is Debbie from Ink and Page, and I'm here today with a Junk Journal July video. Today is day 19 and our prompt is tunnel. If you would like to get any of the printables that I'm about to use in this video, just click the link in the description below, subscribe, and you'll get access to everything that we have released so far and everything that we will be releasing for the rest of the month. So, and also, just as a quick note, every email has every download in it. So it is everything from the prompt list to the scavenger hunt to all of the weekly releases. Okay, and some of the weeks have had 2 releases. Like I did release something yesterday. So everything's on there. The newest one will say new, and then they're just in descending order. Okay, so let's hop into tunnel. So I have a couple of things to tell you. The first of which is, this is the spread that I made for tunnel, right here, in my journal. However, I don't have the video. So, I am unsure what happened, but I obviously do not have good video camera right now because the file was somehow messed up between transferring it from my phone to the computer, and I cannot, for the life of me, retrieve it. So I'm going to make a second video. So I thought I would show you my first spread, okay? And then I will show you how I made this with a couple of modifications. Obviously, I die cut these out, and I use them all that I die cut, so I don't have any more. So I am just going to use some commercial 49 and market die cuts for this one. This one's going to look a little different because I picked different stuff for it because, you know, I wasn't going to make the same exact thing twice. I'll use the same quote because this is a stamp and I had stamped multiple versions of it, and I'll have to use different butterflies if I put butterflies on at all. You know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so this is the one that's in my journal, and then I'm just going to show you guys how I did it. The way that it works in my journal is it's made out of 3 different pages in my journal. So there's a front page, I just cut out the middle, and then there's a glassine page, which I again cut out the middle, a book page, which I glued on top of this back page, and then I glued all these pages together. So I'll show you how I did that in just a second. I'm gonna have to do it outside my journal though, because I already put this one in, and I'm not running out of pages, but I have the right amount of pages left. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do it freeform for you guys here on the desk, and it'll be easier anyway. Probably the video will be a lot smoother too, because, you know, there was a lot of shenanigans in the first video, mostly thanks to Pickle, and then secondly because there's a lot of journal flipping around. So, okay, so here is what my plan is. Okay, so I have picked out this for the front of my tunnel. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to cut holes, cut holes, cut holes, kind of like the Very Hungry Caterpillar, until we drill finally down to our picture. Now, I have 3 of these. I'm not sure. I think this one's my first choice. I was going to see, like, I picked out these papers. I've been really wanting to use this paper, so I picked this paper for the outside of my frame. And then this will be my middle one. So in the other spread, it was like glassine. And then I have this one here to be my 3rd one. And then my picture will be glued on the back of that, and you'll see it there. So I'm going to show you how I did it all right now, and hopefully it should be pretty easy since I have experience. I'm not sure if there's a way to do this particular type of journal page. This is just like the way that I cooked up. So there might be other variations on this. Now, the one thing is you could, if you wanted to, do this in a very concentric way where it's like you could either die cut out the middle or you could cut the edges smoothly. I'm going to rip mine. I ripped them on the last one. I did find it easier. I personally found it easy. I liked having the rough edges. One of the things I did do was I have this mint tape, and this is for dies. Like, it's for like when you die cut, if you have to tape the die down or whatever, this is what you use. So what I'm doing is I'm putting this around the edges of my pen marks because it really helped me not go over my lines when I was ripping. You can see I've used it several times already before. It's kind of in rough condition, but I think it's still going to work fine for what I need because it still has like adhesive on it. So, but yeah, so I put it on the inside of my pencil marks so that I don't go all the way to the edge of my pencil marks, because that would be bad, because you don't want to see the edge in your tunnels. Okay, so all I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this knife here and I'm going to just put an X in the middle of this where I'm going to cut it. Okay, now I'm cutting, this is the back that we're looking at right now, and then this will be the front. Okay, so I'm working on the actual back of the paper. Okay, now I'm just going to grab my ruler. Okay, so all I did here was I'm just going to cut into these corners because it's, you know, it's just easier. And then I'm just going to rip, and I'm going to use the ruler. You don't have to use the ruler. You can freehand rip it. I didn't like, you get a very rough result if you freehand rip it. So if you want to have like a weird shape, I would freehand rip it. If you want to have it kind of be rectangular, I probably would go with ripping it with a ruler. It was a lot faster and like way less mess ups to use the ruler. So, you know, it's kind of, you know, up to you. You could try it both ways too. And you could also try making one of these free form before you actually start ripping up journal pages. Or you could make one free form and then just stick it on a journal page, which might have been the way to go overall. So who knows? I just like, it does get very stiff in your journal when you start gluing like thick things on it. But you could also, you don't need to use cardstock for this. You can use paper. I am using a combination of cardstock and paper because I am using like things that I already had printed these pages, you know, so I just wanted to use what I had printed. Okay, so I have this one. I was going to take a look at them. I have this one. That's very pretty, isn't it? I have this one. It is a very hard call. This one, the only thing I don't like about it is that you're kind of mostly looking at this and not the... So I might use this one. I am going to... Okay, so this is my next layer here. Oh, wait, I can't do it like that. Okay, I'm going to put a hole in this one too, and let's like line them all up and we can just see because it doesn't matter which one I pick. I can pick any of them. Okay, so this one, I'm going to just put this like kind of in the middle here. I'm just guesstimating, and then I'm going to just draw a square around it. Okay, now for this one, I'm going to rob my tape over here. I'm going to put them on the outside. Okay, this is just helping me get the correct shape. And like I said before, you could rip it if you want. Because it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, this is just my personal preference for how I like it to look. So you can go either way. Okay. I also just, you know, the tape really helps if you're freehand ripping too, to keep you from going out of bounds. You know, because you don't, especially, really the only one it matters on is the first one, because if you rip this hole too big here, you'll, you know, go outside the actual size of your image, and that will probably be a problem. Okay, so I'm just going to X this in the middle again. You could just poke it and use scissors. Okay, so let's see. Let's grab some. I'm gonna grab some good scissors here. Not just my little mini scissors. I feel like I have way more control over the cuts with these scissors, but they're not really like super detail scissors, you know. Plus, I feel like I could cut anything with these guys. Okay, so I'm just going to clear that stuff away. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing that I did before and just rip this hole out. I actually think this video is going to be better than the last one was because, like, my instructions are going to be better because I'm really sure what I'm doing because I've already talked through the whole thing once. And, like, usually when I make my mock-ups, like, I don't usually talk through them. I just make them, you know. So I know what I know what I'm doing, but like I don't always know what I'm saying. Okay, so this one here, my mock-up was pretty crazy, I have to admit. Okay, so I'm gonna just trim off where I messed up here, and then if you have to do this and you have like, and it gives you like a smooth spot in your ripping and you want to have it rough, you can just go in with the edge of your scissors or one of those little tools and rough the edge up a little bit so that it doesn't look like you cut it, which was my basic situation with this. I just didn't want it to look like it was cut. Although I do think there's like a time and a place for that look, so I definitely am interested in doing something like that in the future. We can make our very own version of the Hungry Caterpillar. Okay, so now I'm going to have, this is my pretend journal, just FYI. Okay, so this is this, and then, where did I put that picture? Holy macaroni and cheese. Okay, let's just do this one for right now, and I'll get the other one back in a second. Okay, so this one's going to go here like this, and then this one's going to go on top like this. And then what we're going to do, oops, is cut another hole in this one. Okay, and this one will be the top frame. And you could actually do this with as many as you want, okay? I'm going to go 3 layers. I think that's good for a journal because, you know, of the, like, kind of page weight and all that sort of stuff. But I think if you were doing, you could do this through an entire journal, you know, and end up with, like, a little tiny square at the end. It could look really cool. Okay, so I'm going to go here with this. And I'm going to draw my circle here. Or draw my square. Okay. Just messed that up. Oops. Okay. Okay. Alright. There we go. Okay, so that is the same size as this hole, so I'm going to go ahead and do the tape thing again on the outside. Oh, wait a second. All right, so I actually want to go a little bit, I want to go double the outside actually. So I might need some extra tape here just to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to use one of these to mark it. There we go. And then I will grab one of these. Put that on the outside of that one. That's going to be far. Oh, no, but I'm going to be going on the inside. Okay. And then here. Okay. You can eyeball this. You don't have to do the whole tape situation like me. I'm just, you know, it's just like how I want to do it. I mean, even with my taping, it's not going to be exact because I did not measure anything because I'm not really awesome with the measuring. So I usually just try to eyeball stuff and like it usually works out okay. Plus, I don't want everything to be exactly perfect, you know? Okay, so I'm just going to cut my hole in the middle here. And then I'll just go in with my scissors. Basically, this is cutting holes in paper. Like I said, if you wanted to, you could do it with dies or, you know, something like that. If that would, you know, if that would be an easier option. Okay, okay, and this last one, all the way to the top. Okay, perfect. All right, and it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're making a junk journal. I mean, this could be a cool feature or a really cool cover, right? All right, so let me take off my tape here. And this is like, I did say that this was the mint tape, right? It's like the low tack dye tape. I have never had any trouble with it sticking when I'm cutting dies, so I figured it would be a good option for this, where I would be worried that washi tape might tear the paper. Okay, so that's my trash. We'll get rid of that. Okay, so let's try these all out. There's this one. All right, these are going to go on top of each other. And we can kind of like play with the placement a little bit too. Like if I want this one, I think I want this one to be, I'm just going to trim this, or actually, you know what? Wait a second here. Yeah, I think I want the yellow frame to move over a little bit. This is so pretty. Okay. All right. I want the yellow one to be moved over a little, so I'm just going to trim a little bit off this edge. Because you can kind of adjust how you're going to glue it, you know? Because the edges and stuff do not need to line up because nobody's going to going to see what's inside, you know. Let me see if I like that. Okay, so I'm going to just trim a little bit off the edge of this one as well, just so that I have the ability to move it around a little bit when it's in there. All of these papers that I'm using, I think, are from week 1, from that first printable pack that has all the journal pages in it. I did take them completely out of my stack of pages I have printed for this project, so okay, I'll probably ink these edges too so that they stand out a little more, since I picked colors that are, you know, kind of similar. Okay, now we have to figure out a couple of things. Okay, so let's take a look at all these together. I'm going to try this in here. Okay, so let's start with our inking of the frames. Put that over here. Get that done. Right, because this is a little bit grungy, that'll up the grunge factor on the rest of our stuff, and also the ripped edges should help with that. Okay, so since this is my second time doing this and I don't have any of my die cuts left, I'm just going to use these 49 and Market ones. I mentioned this, I think, in the beginning. But, you know, you could use anything that you have. You know, if you happen to have some commercial die cuts like that, you certainly can grab those and it will make this whole process go a lot faster. Or you could cut some leaves. The die that I used for my first spread was an old, like, one of those long skinny dies that Tim had for a while. And it has, like, I don't know, maybe 8 different kinds of branches and leaves and stuff on it. I think it's called Spring Greenery. That's what it's called. And that's what I used for my first one. I prefer usually to just like use watercolor paper and then just watercolor on it, because like even if you don't know how to watercolor paint, you can put watercolor onto a pre-cut die in a way that makes it look like there's color variation, which is what I think makes the die cuts look really good. So one of these days I'll do that on a video, because I think it makes a big difference. Plus it means you don't have to keep like a lot of different colors of cardstock in, like, you know, in your craft room. You can just get like paint. I got like a cheap paint set off of Amazon. Like, I bought it for myself for Christmas last year, and it works great. You know, and it was like 20 bucks. So. Okay. All right, so this just needs to be moved over a little bit. I don't know why I'm futzing around with it so much, because I'm going to end up having to take this apart a little bit. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do though, just to keep it. I'm going to clip it. Oops, sorry about my arm. Okay. I'm just going to clip this situation together here like this, because I do like how it looks. Okay, and then I'm going to put this guy here. And just kind of get it lined up in a way that I like it. I want to make sure I'm getting the, oops, sorry, that was a little bit low. I want to make sure I'm getting the lavender in there. Okay, I also want to make sure that, okay, that the picture's not crooked. Because I think the frames are crooked right now. But I can fix those in just a second. Okay. Alright, I think I'm gonna glue stick this guy on. It's hard when you're working on white, on white, on white. Woo. That is that's white. Okay. Alright, so I'm just gonna glue stick this first one down. Right here in the middle. Alright, and now I've gotten, alright, I'm gonna take these off, and I'm gonna do this guy. It's not going to be perfectly square because, you know, all of my, like, squares are hand cut, you know what I mean? Or hand ripped. Okay, I'm just making that a little bit smaller. Okay, I am not a fan of this. I'm just going to cut that off and re-ink that. I thought I could live with it. I was like, well, I'll just, you know, it'll be character, but it just looks terrible. I'm just going to rough that up so it looks like it's fake ripped. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I can go back to what I was doing. Sorry. Okay, get that out of there. I'm going to mess with this for a second. If it's too long, I'll just speed it up when I do the editing. How's that look? I think that looks reasonably good. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to open this up, just like this, and glue on the inside of this. Oh, man. Okay. Okay, easier said than done. Okay. Okay, put that down. Okay, then we're going to flip this one over here. And then we're going to do the same thing again. See, like, that's totally glued on crooked, but I think it looks okay. Alright, maybe you guys can tell better. Okay, so now I'm going to do this here. This gives you good, nice, even coverage. It's like I just can't replicate that. Okay, then I have this one, and I'm just going to... Ooh, that looks like it's got a problem there. Okay. now I'm going to do my last one. Okay, if your journal can handle it, the pages that I used, that I made that are made of cardstock, fared much better in this thing. But I did want to kind of try to debulk it as much as I could. So that's why I like mingled paper with cardstock. So I have 2 paper layers and 2 cardstock layers. This would even make such a pretty card if you wanted to give somebody like a birthday card or something. This would make such a pretty card. Okay, and now we're going to go on to the fun part of this whole operation, which is the decorating. I'm just going to trim the top because one of my papers is apparently sticking out. It's that linen yellow one. Okay. Alright. Let me grab my phone folder here, and I'm just going to go over the whole thing. Just make sure everything sticks. Okay, so what I did on the previous one is I used the die cuts. I'll just get a little gander here. I used the die cuts just to decorate the frame. So now on this one, I have a book page. I have glassine, which is right here, you can see. And then I had the cloud page as a frame. And then I used the die cuts and the quote and the butterflies from yesterday to decorate it. So we're going to do kind of similar to that with this one. I'm going to get, I have another one of the quotes, so we can use that. And I'm going to see if I have any butterflies left, because I think I might. I also have a bunch of lace left. And some, what do you call it? Mummy cloth. Okay, and I did stamp it on that one as well. Oh yeah, I knew I threw a butterfly in here. Doesn't have purple on it, but... Oh yeah, the big butterfly's in my journal. I have that. I have that. I have a tag. And I only have some sad bits of my other stuff left. I have just that one. And some cut pieces, so... Okay, so I only have the one butterfly. Okay. Okie dokie, so let me grab... I'm just going to grab a couple pieces from this really quick. Always grab some more if I need them. Okay, let's get that. Alright, I like these like hanging ones here. I hope I'm not making like a Courier and Ives greeting card here. Okay. I'm just going to take a look-see at how these might be arranged. And certainly, like, we could go around this with lace too if we wanted to instead, or twine or string or whatever else. So it doesn't need to be like flowers or whatever. I just had this idea in my head for the, oh, sorry about that. It's like dominoes over here. Okay. I had an idea in my head of like having like the greenery springing out, you know? let's see what we can do with this stuff. Okay, that's very close on the bottom there. So, oops, this is very fragile paper that I've used there. Okay, so I'm going to start with this over here. I'm going to do a similar layout, although I guess I don't have to, huh? I could put it over here or here. We could do that. I was going to do the same layout, but there's no reason why I should, right? Okay, so I want to put something behind that. So I have a bunch of different options here. I could try this. Let me grab my scissors and cut this out. I think I'll do it this way. Okay. All right, so let's put it okay, so here's this. Where? I have this piece of rickrack too that I would not mind using. So I'm going to keep that kind of just front and center or off to the side center. I'm not sure which. Okay, so I don't know about this butterfly. It's a lot of green. I'm not sure about that one. Okay, let me see what I have. This is very floppy. This is what I was thinking with the flowers tucking kind of into the layers of the tunnel, so to speak. Did I find any greenery or did I get all flowers? Let's see. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna futz around with this stuff a little bit here If it gets too drawn out, I'll just fast forward it. Okay. Yeah, I think I can live with that. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this down first. The acetone definitely messes with the ink, whether you use archival or distress. Okay, so there's so many pokey edges on this. Okay. 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 Okay, so that's pretty good right there. Okay, so let's take a look at up here. It'd be so great if I could get that in there. Okay, this is not, I grabbed the wrong thing, but maybe I can use it. Okay. I like the berries for some reason. Okay, so I would like to have something coming down on this side. Probably some kind of textile element over here, and then really sure after that, I have to be honest. I did kind of like this sort of down here. I'm not sure though about that. It's a little bit, might be a little bit too much. I might need to go back and see if I can find more leaves. Also, this one might not, you know, need as much as the other one did, so I gotta stop comparing them. I did have this really nice piece of soft lace, but I don't know what I did with it. I could mirror this fabric up there. Okay, I don't... Okay, let's see here. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have that there. It's not like, oh, wow, that's amazing, you know? The Rick Rack is trying too hard. It's way not the right color. Okay. Okay, so what I was thinking is having that come off the top there. Okay, I'm going to put this here. It's not like super stand out, so it should be okay. And then I need to put a little bit of glue under here for these guys. That like big one back there. And then this one from the top. Okay. The only thing that is a little, if this doesn't have a lot of like lift under it, you know, like it doesn't have anything under it to give it like a little bit of texture or, you know, anything like that. All right, so let's go ahead and add in some more of these little flowers. I can add a little bit of, I think, okay, wait. I think I can add in a little bit of like mummy cloth or something behind this just to have a little like thready texture back there. I'm just pulling off the threads basically. I don't know, I just kind of like how that looks. So I'm just gonna put that on there. And I'm gonna see if I have a butterfly in the die cut kit that will match, because I don't think this butterfly looks very good on this here. I did put a little postcard on my other one, so I could think about doing that. I'm gonna ink this edge. Kind of like the callback to the other prompts, you know. Okay, so let's see here. Does my little... That's too big. Okay. Oops. I'm going to use the other glue for this because it's so delicate. Okay, so on the other one, I had this like kind of little ruffle. So I think I'm going to do a little ruffle like right down here between in this little space. The other one, it was on the top, but I think this is the perfect spot for it here on the bottom. I don't know if it's ruffle is the right word, but it's just like a little squished up cheesecloth in a ruffly fashion. I don't want it to be too squished down though. If I have to, or not if I have to. It's not a great way to put that. Okay, if like after looking at this for a day or two, I could add a little ornamentation down here, or like a little charm or something if I wanted to. This one's like a little bit more chill than the other one, I think. Okay, so here's what I think for sure. Okay, here's this. Okay. Okay, this is probably weird, but I'm thinking, or right here. Yeah, that's it. And this also gives me the chance to like, because once you stick fabric on there, you can pin stuff, you know? So I do have the option of coming back to this if I want and, you know, pinning something to it. Or adding antiquities, which I don't hate. Let's see here. I know I should be finishing up, but, you know, I just have... It's funny how when you have something in your drawer, how much use you make out of it. I guess that really goes for having things that in eyesight, you know, not in drawers. Should I put that on there? Should I not put that on there? I wish this was smaller. I'm going to add this on here because I can, basically. I mean, this is like, I guess I'm probably going to try to figure out how to get this into my journal. I might wait to put it in until the end because of, you know, I don't want it to get too much fatter than it already is. But I'm definitely not going to, like, leave it out of my journal, so. I'll just have, like, a bonus one. Alright, let's stick these guys together. I'm dying to use this. I think it's way too much, though. Okay, there we go with that. I'm going to pin this one on. Oh, I'm going to need to get new paper clips soon. I got... Ooh, even better if that does that. Could use a mini paper clip, actually, because that one is like really in your face. There we go. That's even another opportunity to add a little charm. I don't want to glue this on here, just in case. I'll always try to get one more thing on there. Right, I'm gonna clean this up. Yeah, really. Okay, so here are my two spreads for tunnel. Two tunnels, two different places. This may fit perfectly in here, like right here at the beginning of this signature, you know, because like that's a place where there's like, you know, extra space in the journal, so that's probably where it's gonna end up. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope that you crafted along with me. I hope you made a little tunnel spread of your own. And I hope that you would please like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow for the prompt dark. Thank you so much for joining me.